If you've met me in person, or you've talked to me on Discord or the 24/7 AXP live stream, or maybe you've seen me enough on these shows, you know that I openly identify as an agnostic atheist. And I hope this cold open goes well. And G as in G, I really hope this cold open goes well. Now, I identify this way not only because it most accurately portrays my own ideas, but I've also found that if I wanted to have a friendly chat with a theist, it doesn't immediately shut the conversation down or bring baggage to the table that the atheist label sometimes does. And it allows me to have a more reasonable, civilized conversation from the very outset, especially if the theist has a straw man stereotype of what he thinks an atheist is. But what is atheism? It's generally defined as the idea that the question of God's existence is meaningless because the word God lacks a clear and consistent definition. And it's been my lifelong experience that no two people do have the same exact idea of the nature of any one God, even if they're sitting next to each other in the same pew. But one of the things that I've also found is that among atheists, we have the same problem. For like instance, I had some atheists tell me that atheism was a subset of atheism, but I don't think that's true because I think it still allows for a personal God. So it does allow for theism. There could be theistic atheism. So as a result, I'm not really interested in proving or disproving the existence of God. What I really want to know is, why should I believe in your God? What does your God offer me that all the other gods don't offer me, or that I can't get from a secular source either? Is it just a promise? Because that's, it seems, what most I ever see is just a promise. And at my age, I've seen a lot of promises that never came true. So you're going to have to bring something a little bit better than that for me. Do you have more questions about atheism? Do you think using labels are important to help communicate your beliefs? Do you want to challenge my ideas about atheism? Give us a call, because the show's starting right now. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Truth Wanted. I am your host, Kelley Laughlin, and this is a live call-in show we do every Friday night at 7 p.m. Central, where we talk to people about what they believe and why they believe it. And if you'd like, you can please give us a call at 1-512-991-9242, or through your computer at tiny.cc/calltw. Truth Wanted is a product of the atheist community of Austin, a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to the promotion of atheism, critical thinking, secular humanism, and the separation of religion and government. And today, my very, very special guest host is Chris. Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Chris Mallard from the Daily Atheist Media Network. So it's a real pleasure to have you here. I've been watching a bunch of your shows this week, going back and watching some of the old ones. I told you that beforehand, and I was really impressed, man. It's some damn good shit. So.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. The Daily Atheist Morning Show is what you've been watching. The Daily Atheist Media Network is the channel. I hate to, it's just a fun thing that we do. I didn't get the chance to clarify earlier. You're my hero, though. Thank you. It's nice to meet you, Kelley. I've been watching you, too, researching the show. And you've been a hoot. You and your two brain cells.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you very much.
They stick together.
Yeah. I appreciate that. So I really enjoyed a lot of what you were doing. I want to get to we'll talk about that in a minute, but right away I want to do something we do every week.
Okay.
And that's getting to the We Want the Truth segment. And last week we asked, what topic will you bring up to change the subject at Thanksgiving? And here were our three favorite answers.
Okay.
Chuck Gados came in number 3, and he said, a favorite Thanksgiving discussion topic is complaining that the neighbor's Christmas lights are up way too early. I was complaining about that with my son, too, about a week before Thanksgiving. We had a guy in our neighborhood, I swear, like a week after Halloween was over, he was putting up Christmas lights. I couldn't believe it. But,
Really?
well, you know what?
Getting after it quick.
I live really far north, though. I live north of Wisconsin in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So I can think that maybe, my only thought is that he was thinking, if I don't get him up now, I'll be doing it in 8 feet of snow.
Thinking, yeah.
Or 20 below zero weather. So maybe he was just kidding ahead of the weather.
You know, back when I was, I used to just leave them up. They would be all broke. And then, you know, when I did it, you know, I was pretty bad. I'm one of those people who'd go, me too, at that neighbor that did all the effort.
Yeah. Ultimate in laziness. I grew up with a friend his name was Craig Gass, Gass. And his father put the letters of the last name up on the garage, and kids in the neighborhood, of course, kept stealing the G. and
as you would, right?
Yeah, right. As you would, you know. I know his son did it a couple of times, but I know for a fact.
His own son.
Yeah. But he just left it up there. You would have think he had at least take the 3 down, but no, just left it just the way it was. So
it worked. Holiday spirit.
Yeah. Number 2, Zach Reed says, to change the conversation at Thanksgiving, I would say, hey, let's play a round of dildo or dildon't with various food and festive objects. That's fucking awesome. Oh, I can imagine doing that at my family. That'd be awesome.
Yes.
I have a very liberal, crazy family. So, I mean, it would be a lot of fun at my place.
We have a lot of fun at our gatherings. My family, when I don't do family really. I do wife's family. Wife's family is fun. My family's like way the heck over there, and you know I don't even know what most of them look like anymore, and that's okay. It works. Yeah. So that's the question. Is that the question?
What? Dildo or dildon't?
Well, you know, I watched a show with Apostate Ashley, and you hit her up with a question. She's like, "Oh, that wasn't the question I thought it was going to be." Oh, and I was the question.
We still got one more to go, and then I'll hit you with the question. So
okay, I got you. I thought you were tricking me.
No. Number 1 came from Jason Techlord, and it's Thanksgiving subject to bring up. I discovered our mother and father did not ever get married, and our mother adopted 2 of our siblings in secret. And that's based on a true story. That's if that really happened to you, Jason, that's kind of crazy. My mother recently passed away, and we were going through her papers, and we found out that she married my stepfather before she divorced my father. She was actually a bigamist for like 6 years. So that's a crazy thing to find out. But now we got it. The prompt for this week is, you ready? You ready,
okay.
Chris?
I think I'm ready.
Okay, cool. I'm having fun already. What's an unexpected way to get on Santa's naughty list?
I was thinking sending unsolicited intimate photographs to Mrs. Claus. That's, you know, how I would probably. Now, the second way I've thought of would be actually to send solicited photographs to Mrs. Claus.
Awesome.
That's my thinking.
That's awesome.
You know, I'm used to, if you don't mind, my brain, you know, when you're used to doing something, I'm used to hosting a show. So good evening, everybody. Left-Handed Jedi, nice to see you. Eli, Slack, Nightbot, you guys all wonderful. Okay, it's out of my system. Thank you. I'm just used to hosting my own show.
Yeah, I love watching the chat. It's sometimes I got a little too much going on during the show, so I kind of miss it sometimes. But when I'm like the backup post, I love hanging out in the chat. It's really a lot of fun.
All Things Considered says, yeah, you got what I was saying. I didn't know if I could say that on the show. I was thinking I couldn't say that. I could say dork portraits. Can I? Does that work?
You can say
I can say that.
Portraits.
Okay, yeah. So there you go. Hope Santa Claus is down for that sort of thing. Who knows? He might be down for Santa.
So I mentioned the Daily Atheist Morning Show. Mm-hmm. Before we did the prompt for the week. So how long have you been doing that? Because you seem like a complete professional, like you're a professional actor or something.
Yes, that's a good one. Actually, since we did cover the acting thing a little bit, but I started the Daily Atheist morning show back in 2019. And I ran it for a year all by myself, just like I'm doing it now. But it was a lot harder then because I was getting guests on every week, every day, and a co-host. And it was just a lot of work. And this has been so much better. And, so I shut it down after a year. And then a few months ago, I fired it back up. And I've just been loving it. I've grown my channel more in just a few months than I did in the whole year of running the Daily Atheist morning show before. It's just been fantastic. I love it. I run a longer show. It's usually 9 a.m. Eastern to 11 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. Just have a blast. It's been, and the people in the community have been fantastic. Left-Handed Jedi, Kalasia, all those wonderful people, all my friends who came back after I was gone for so long. They're like, dude, where you been? I'm like, dude, I was here, but I wasn't here. And so now I'm here.
So for like our viewers that might not be familiar with your work, exactly, what do you do on the show?
Mostly I strip. No.
Oh,
cool. What we do on the show is it's just lighthearted, get together, fun. I run a poll in the mornings where I ask a question related to religion. Sometimes we talk politics. I'm a left-leaning liberal nutbag. We do occasionally talk the politics, but most of the time we talk religion. I ask the people the polls and we have fun. I try to engage with the people in the chat, but as my show has been growing, it's just gotten to where I just can't keep up with it. I understand why other content creators rely on super chats because the chat just rolls by so fast. But that's what I've been doing. As far as the other things, I'm also an actor. And
really?
I am. Yeah. So you can find me at kitblack.net if you want to see my stuff over there. Yeah.
I was just acting surprised.
Yeah, I knew that. I knew that about you. One of the things I want to tell you a funny little story, if I don't mind. There's Scotty in the chat, and he's a friend of mine. I've known him for a long time. I say that we've known him on the internet, and then we met recently, and we were working on putting together a show. Anyway, he got on the show, and we did some things, and I told him, I was like, maybe you need some practice, and he said, I tell you what, get me on the live stream a couple of times and I'll be fine. I can get up. I'll catch up to you. And I was like, man, I've done this for like years. I'm a trained actor. I do Shakespeare. And it's almost insulting. No, it's insulting, Scotty. I told him it was insulting for you to think that you could just do it a couple times. But no, it's a lot of fun. Scotty's a friend. Actually, I've encouraged him. He's got a lot of great ideas, and I've encouraged him to reach out to ACA as well and become a host over there so they can develop him as a host. Yes, Left-Handed Jedi. Oh, and Dean Darklight is here. I thought I smelled something, Daen. How you doing, buddy? Nice to see you. Punk Apostate. I don't know that I know you, but I want to know you. I dig me some Punk. And Ember. Sorry, dude. I'm just used to hosting the show. Forgive me if I take off.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. It's cool that you brought a bunch of your fans over with you. What's cool is that they followed you here. That's incredible. Yeah. That's awesome.
They're wonderful. They really are. It's been a blast coming back.
I'd like it if people followed me, but I think the smell keeps them away.
I think that's store security. Generally. I mean, I could be wrong. So did you have I started to give you, I was going to break you out with a whole top 10s list of, for your question about how to get on Santa's naughty list. Kelley.
Go ahead.
Do you have how would you get on Santa's naughty list?
Like unexpectedly, as the question said, probably by unexpected. Oh, yeah. Yes, it was unexpected, right? And I was thinking that if I put my kids on an SQL Santa's naughty list, and I know our tech producer Jason understands that joke. Not a lot of people will, but I know he will. So,
gotcha. Okay. So do we have
it's a tough reference.
It is. You had to be there?
No, I mean, if you know a little bit about machine languages, you'd probably get the joke.
SQL. Oh, yeah. Oh man, I'm a computer nerd too. I'm sorry, I missed it. It hurts my brain, Kelley, that I missed it. SQL server, SQL language.
If I put my kids' names on the list, and I automatically ended up on the list, right?
Okay, I get it. You're doing some injecting. That's fantastic. All right. Cognitive Echo. That's a cool name. I dig it. Eli Slack, thank you for joining us this evening. Sorry, dude. I'm gonna keep hosting all night long. You're gonna have to tell me to stop.
Eli is our backup host this evening too. So
that's that Eli. I got you.
That Eli, yeah. He's a pretty nice guy. I had the honor to hang out with him for a few days. We got really pretty close. We were traveling buddies for a few days. I mean, a lot of fun with him. He's awesome.
Awesome.
So what? That's got to be grueling doing a daily show. How do you find the motivation, I guess, to get up every day? Like my son and I run our own shop, and I have a hard time just getting up and going in and open the doors some days. So.
Okay, I'll tell you. If I used to actually have I was Night Owl Computers. I had a business called Night Owl Computers. I was a complete night owl. And then I fell in love with the wonderful, beautiful nurse, the evil one. I refer to her as the evil one. And she got up at like 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning. So I started getting up at 4. And then we got this dog, the little white dog, the rescue dog. And he had some nervous issues. And he started getting me up at 3 o'clock. So I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning anyway. But I was getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's not that big a deal. Now I get up, I sit in here, I find my chi, if you will, in the mornings before the show. I look up, I think of a question. But it's my friends now. You know, I've learned that if you want to build a YouTube channel, don't do live streams. Live streams is not really where it's at. Drop videos, long form videos. If you want to get subscribers, that's really the best way to go. Live stream is cool, it's fun, but if you want to build a YouTube channel, do the long form videos. That's what I've been doing to help build my channel. But I haven't stopped the live stream because it's so much fun. I get all these wonderful people, even the Christians. Well, I say that like they're all, you know what I meant. I didn't mean that to be in a bad way. Yeah. But they get in the chat. They're antagonists. I have rules. My people will bounce you. Play nice, but it's so much fun. And I've made so many friends and I'm developing a relationship in the atheist community. I tell you, I have a story about the ACA, in fact. You want to hear my ACA story?
I'd love to hear it.
Okay. All right. Here's the deal. Many moons ago, whenever I was doing the Daily Atheist Morning Show, I wanted to grow the Daily Atheist Morning Show. And I wanted to look out and see if I could get on to other bigger shows. And I saw the Atheist Experience. I was like, I want to get on Atheist Experience. And so I hit them up in emails. I was like, guys, I'm the host of the Daily Atheist Morning Show. Can I be on your show? And they said, thank you. We appreciate you. But all of our shows are hosted in-house in our studio. Thank you very much. And so I was all sad face and tears. Mm-hmm. And I went away, sad face. And then the cooties hit.
Yeah. Yep.
And the cooties hit and everybody went online. And it's been like 4 years now. And I've never reached out again at all this time. So finally I reached out and I finally made it. So I got this long history story about trying to get on the show, wanting to be on the show. I've wanted to be there, but they turned me away once. So I'm like, I don't want to.
Yeah, well, I'm honestly glad you came back and said something again. I'm really enjoying. Like I said, I'm having fun already, and we just started the show, so I've been having a great time.
And, I've been around. I know a lot of people in the community. I've had, whenever I was hosting my show, again, one of the extreme pressures of the show that I did to myself, was getting people on all the time. Almost every day I had to have a host. So I had Paulogia on my show. I've had Objectively Daen on my show. I actually had my photograph, the one that you guys made for the thumbnail. Mm-hmm. Y'all have already done that for me once a long time ago. And I was going to send that to you, and I just couldn't find it. So I've met Objectively Daen. I interviewed him on the show. I've had Seth Andrews on the show, Aaron Ra on the show. I've been in the community. I just vanished. I got burnt out and vanished for years. And here I
know somebody you haven't had on.
Who's that?
Me.
Kelley Laughlin. the Kelley Laughlin.
Yeah, I don't know if you put a D before me, but
yeah. Sometimes on the show I'll introduce myself as the Amazing Super Chris. I'll be like, nobody else calls me that. It's just me. Yeah. Sometimes I send myself emails, hey, Amazing Super Chris, just so I can get it later and go, dude.
I do a lot of self-deprecating humor, and I think people think I'm serious about doing it, but I only do it to keep my ego in check because my ego is amazingly huge.
Me too. One of the things that's funny is I have these, I do long form videos, like the top 10 reasons why Christianity is a blood cult. So for example, I'll drop that on Saturday, and then Monday on the show, we'll watch the video and I'll go over it with my peeps on the show. Mm-hmm. And I'll have You Christians, people who like to attack. Anyway, I don't want to go into but I'll have them tell me I'm a narcissist. I just want to sit around and look at myself. I'm like, yeah, I just sit here, look at myself, masturbate, talk. That's kind of what I do. And so I lean into that. Oh, yeah, I'm a narcissist. I just like to sit here and talk to Sure enough, if that's what they want to think. Really, for those of us, we do have our egos. I'm an actor. If I was to tell you I wasn't some sort of narcissist, I would be lying. But I also got a message. I have a point. I am an older white man, and I get by just fine. I've got lots of privilege, but I feel so much for those who don't. And I'm so tired of watching other people oppress. And so that's kind of what got me out. I'm a funny guy. I like joking. If you watch any of my long form videos, they are not funny. I mean, I do have some funny things, especially episode 12 of the Evil God Monster of Abraham series, where I'm talking about where Abram and Sarai gave an STD to the Pharaoh of Egypt. That's hilarious, dude. You know, so I do get a little lighthearted, but most of my long form videos are pretty serious.
Cool.
Jeremiah, thank you for that. I saw that earlier, Jeremiah.
What do you think about taking a call?
Oh yeah, I'm ready when you are. I ain't scared.
Right,
well,
cool.
I'm a little scared.
Okay, I'm thinking. I know. We wanted to take some like good conspiracy or other kind of a call, but we don't have one right now. So we got one that's talking about parents who are full of conspiracy beliefs. But I got one here. I think we should take Craig in Ohio. Him, and he says his experience led him to believe that the Christian God was real, starting with prayer.
Okay.
So hi, Craig. How you doing?
Good. How about you guys?
Good. So what experience made you believe that the Christian God was the real God?
Well, first off, I wasn't raised in the church. I mean, long story short, I got in trouble, and I was actually a troublemaker. I was unruly child. Was raised without a mom, so it was just 3 men in a house, me and my brother and my dad. And me and my dad, kind of always went back and forth, but I always loved my dad, even though he mistreated us in some ways, but we deserved it because things that we did, and I didn't understand that.
Children never deserve to be mistreated. Don't tell yourself that.
Right.
Children never deserve to be mistreated. Well, nothing. They don't. They just don't, period. You can communicate. You can communicate things to a child without abusing them or hitting them or anything. I raised 2 kids without hitting them. They turned out to be wonderful individuals. So you don't need to mistreat children.
Yes. And,
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to stop you on that, but that cuts deep.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
Cool.
You're good. And but anyways, I was unruly, and I tend to do things on my own way. And I got in trouble my senior year. I was pretty good in wrestling, and I had a lot of aspirations going into my senior year. I was 1 match away from going to state, and during that time, Ohio was a pretty tough state to wrestle in. And
but let's stick to the God thing though. Let's go back to your God experience.
Yeah. I'm getting to that. Yes.
Okay.
And well, anyways, I got in trouble and got locked up and went to a juvenile prison, and I was ashamed for what I did. And I even wrote the judge, asked him if I can get out, early. And he denied my request, and I was hurt, ashamed, and I had nothing left. I just was empty, and couldn't get out. And but anyways, there was this. We were watching a movie, and there was this old guy, and I would talk to the guys like, man, somebody could beat that guy up, and he was a JCO, juvenile correctional officer, and they're like, no, you don't touch that, man. That guy could do crazy things. And I was like, what kind of crazy things? And they're like, go talk to him. And so I went up and I went to go talk to him, and I asked him, I was like, hey, I heard you can do crazy things. And I didn't know what kind of crazy things. I'm thinking some kind of magic trick or something, like, not even the things of God, not, that wasn't even a thought in my mind. And he came, he's like, what room are you in? And I pointed over, he's like, I'll be over there later on. And I was like, okay. And this whole time I sat there, it was probably a good hour or so. And he came to my door and he looked at me and he goes, can I pray for you? And I looked at him and I kind of felt let down. I was like, man, that's it. That's what you can do. I didn't tell him that. That's just what I was saying to myself, quietly, in my own mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I looked at him. I was like, sure. It's like a prayer couldn't hurt, could it? And he looked at me and he goes, do you believe Jesus Christ was crucified on the cross and died for our sins?
Okay, just let's move forward because we all know the spiel. We don't need to go through the whole spiel.
But that, that's okay. But anyway, so when I answered that question, I did not know the things about Jesus Christ, and so with me not knowing anything about Jesus, I just knew his name, is what I'm saying. I wasn't seeking for evidence. I wasn't seeking for proof of God's existence. I wasn't seeking none of that. I was seeking for help.
Okay.
I was looking for something. I was looking for something to help me out, during this time, and a prayer, and when he, and so when you cut me off, he kind of threw me off, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm trying to rebound from that. And so he had my roommate stand behind me and my roommate stood behind me, and when I accepted this and believed in this, he told me, I don't want you to pray for what you're in here for you have beaten yourself up enough. And I'm like, well, how do you know that? That's what I said to myself. Like, how does he know? And so as I'm praying, I prayed for something else. And I prayed for my mom. And she had 20 or more cysts and tumors on her kidneys and liver. And so I prayed for that. I just talked to my mom recently, the past day or so, and I got the news that she was going to get a biopsy done to see if the tumors were cancerous or the cysts were cancerous or not. So I prayed for that. That's what I prayed for.
Mm-hmm.
And when he prayed for me, I did not hear him pray for me. And I was praying in my own mind, in my own body. And I heard something say to me, let me have it. That's what I heard in myself. Let me have it. And I said, have what? And then my heart beat it out of my chest. And I said, okay. And then I fell backwards. And when I woke up, or when I got up, I couldn't see anything. I see nothing but white. And I wandered around, and I'm not making this up, man.
I believe you had an experience.
I felt good.
Me too. Yeah, you had an experience.
I felt good. I felt really good, and almost as if I wasn't in jail anymore. That's how good I felt. And anyways, I went to the bed, my roommate's bunk bed, because I was on the top bunk. And I sat down on his bed, and I'm like thinking to myself, what the heck just happened to me? Then when I could see again, I went to the door and started banging on the door, and he was walking away. And I asked him, what did you do to me? Hey, what did you do to me? And he looked back and smiled at me and kept on walking, and we never spoke again. But, I've had some other experiences in my life where God has actually spoken to me, as if he was standing there, and I can remember exactly what he said to me. And I was cursing at people when I was playing video games, threatening people, and doing all these things because God allowed me to do what I wanted to do. And he asked me, why are you being this way, for I did not create you to be this way? Or what are you doing, for I did not create you to be this way? And then he asked me the other time, he spoke to
Craig,
me.
can I stop you for a second? Can I stop you for a second? Because you've said a whole bunch of stuff, but you still haven't gotten to what you called about. So I'm wondering if maybe we can go back to that subject matter. Can you tell me how, what it was that actually made you believe that the Christian God was real? Like you've told us about all these experiences you've had, but what is it that actually you said, wow, this God is real? Is it because he answered a prayer or what?
Well, for one, the next day, and I don't know if it was the next day or not, but the next time I talked to my mom, she had no cysts or no tumors on her kidneys or livers. And I thank God for that. She was clean. None of them are cancerous. Let me say.
That's good to hear.
And the other thing is when somebody prayed for me like that, I've never felt that in my life. I never felt like that, back into somebody's arms and somebody caught me. And I never seen a light like that, even though I was opening my eyes and rubbing my eyes, thinking and I still couldn't see,
Those things are used by a lot of counselors and stuff. Those aren't necessarily like Christian things, right?
Right.
You are aware of that, correct? Right? Like the falling backwards thing, that's used by a lot of counselors and stuff. That's not really a Christian thing.
And if I may,
counselors are not preaching the word of God either.
That's not what I said. I think my point that I was making just went right over your head. Chris, what were you going to say?
Here's the deal. I want to ask, first of all, there's a couple of points I'd like to make. One is, which is more likely, Craig? Which is more likely? You experience some sort of chemical release in your brain, possibly a mini stroke or a mini hallucination of some kind, or, work with me here, or which is most likely, that happened. You had some sort of something go wrong in your brain, or the almighty creator of the entire universe chose to speak to you. And I want to tell you, Craig, that if you're familiar with the Bible and this stuff like that sort of thing, I want to tell you before you answer, the almighty God, creator of everybody, didn't speak to Mary. He spoke through an angel. Didn't speak to Muhammad. They spoke through an angel. So you, Craig, are more closer to God than those people. That's kind of where you're going when you're telling me that God did these things for you. You know what I mean? So I'm just curious how you feel about that.
Well, what does John 10:27 say?
I don't know. What does John 3:17 say?
Not sure.
Yeah, I suspect. And see, that's the whole deal. You have a belief that you're not really even sure of. You've allowed somebody to let you believe something or help you believe something. Maybe you helped yourself believe it. I'm not really sure. But I want to go with the Occam's razor in your case. First of all, I'd like to point out that you need to believe more in yourself. I just say that based on what you were saying when you opened up the thing and you're like, I was a bad kid and I deserved it. I was like, man, I want to hug you, dude. I want to hug you. That's what I was thinking. But I've made a couple of notes. First of all, when you were down and you were in need and your life had been kind of rough and you were feeling like you were in a place of need, that's when that's a point when people of religion tend to prey on people. That's literally what they go for. They look for people who are in need and try to sway them because they know you're at your lowest and you're easy to convince. Now, I don't know. I can't really speak to your mother and your.
Okay.
I can't speak to your mother and the things that medically happened with your mother. We can go again with Occam's razor, which is more likely. There was some sort of medical misdiagnosis or a technician read it wrong or some of that business. Or once again, my friend, the almighty God who created everything loves you so much. You, Craig, you so much that he answered your prayers. He didn't answer What was his name? Rush Limbaugh's prayers when he had lung cancer, and all those Christians out there were praying for Rush Limbaugh, and yet he held your mother. You know, my dad died of lung cancer, which had spread to his brain, and we saw the little things in his brain. And praying didn't help. He was a Christian.
Well,
our prayers didn't help. So explain to me, if you will. Okay.
Well, I do know this, and your name's Chris, right? Your name's Chris, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Chris Mallard. I'm the host of the Daily Atheist Morning Show.
I do know God works in mysterious ways. You know,
he does. Yeah, he sure does. He sure does.
Jesus,
he sure does. They are so mysterious. They are so mysterious that we can't even prove he did it.
It's almost as if he didn't exist.
Almost. It's amazing.
It's crazy. Pardon, Craig. Carry on with your rebuttal.
You know,
we hear that excuse all the time. We hear that excuse all the
time. I'm sorry, Kelley. We really do. We hear it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, we hear that like God works in mysterious ways, and that's usually what people resort to when they have no other answer.
Yeah.
You know, and I have to explain myself when I tell them that God spoke to me. They're like, well, what did he sound like? What, was it in your head? Was it, and I had to explain to them that, no, it's not in my head, because John 10:27 explains to you, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them and they follow me.
And they follow me.
And
I get that.
And I thank you guys for letting me talk, like I said, I'm not a liar, and God did not create me to be a liar, and I'm just here. I'm not here to convince anybody that, or convict anybody, but I will tell you, God is real, and, I don't want anybody to perish. And I know many think that God is cruel. He's not cruel. We have choices. Some people.
Do you think that drowning like every baby in the world wasn't cruel? I mean, that seems pretty damn cruel to me.
That's cool. They must have deserved it. Surely they deserved it, right?
Do you think that allowing babies to starve to death today is?
How long? That was 120 years that Noah took Noah to build the ark, right?
I don't know that it took 120 years. If that's what it claims in the Bible, okay, I'll accept it for the sake of conversation.
I think it was 120 years that it took Noah to build the ark, if I'm not mistaken. And Noah warned the people. How many people listened to Noah? How many people listen to that?
How many? Hey, you know what, Craig? How many children starve to death today that God could keep from starving to death today? And let's forget the babies that got drowned because their parents didn't listen. God decided to kill them anyway. It wasn't their fault. They didn't have the capacity to listen. They were freaking babies. But how many babies does God let die today just because they don't have food?
If I was Joel Osteen, I would empty out my pockets immediately and give out all the money that I had to all.
It has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with money because Jesus supposedly made loaves and fishes out of nothing. God could just feed those kids. It has nothing to do with money. God doesn't need money.
The world is ran by money.
You know what? I have a $5 bill that's been sitting on my shelf here for over 6 months. And on the back of it, it says, "Dear Jesus, please come and take this $5 bill so you can help feed the poor with it." And it's still sitting on my shelf 6 months later. Jesus still hasn't come and picked it up.
Yeah. And one of the, if the world is run by money, that's great. I can give you that. But isn't Jesus supposed to be bigger than that? You're saying he's limited by money. He doesn't have money. He can't just present money. He can't just. Yeah. Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
No, but people are putting in tithes and offerings for this. And me and my wife are very, we go at it back and forth about this whole tithes and offerings thing. I'm like, well, instead of putting 10% of money in, why don't you go give them 10% of goods, like cans of corn, meat or something like that, and go give that to a pastor and tell them to go give that to the poor. Me and my wife literally talk about that. And so
here's
thing
the thing, Craig. Here's the thing. You keep talking about what you can do or what a human being can do. We're talking about what God can do. God could stop this. He doesn't need you and your wife to save a can of corn. God can do this all without that can of corn. This is the point that we've been Chris and I have been trying to make, and it doesn't seem like you're understanding our point. God doesn't need you to stop these children from starving to death. He can do it all on his own.
Well, they're not the only ones starving. They're not the only ones being slaughtered either.
Dude, are you even listening to what we're saying at all?
One of the things,
it doesn't
Craig,
seem like you are. I'm baffled.
If you will, Craig, if you go look in the Old Testament, and I actually have a video series on this, you can go watch it. It's called The Evil God Monster of Abraham. And look at the God of the Old Testament. It's a horrific, evil monster. It kills. It commands people to kill. It's just horrible throughout the thing. And what you're going to get is the results and activities and actions of people who follow that kind of book. And sorry, did I lose it there?
No, you're good.
Okay, we're still good. All right. So I am losing it. Sorry. Sorry guys, I lost what I was talking about. Craig, I was vanquishing you for something. There you are.
You guys were just questioning me about the whole flood thing. When in fact that Noah did warn the people for 120 years, correct?
But the babies couldn't do anything.
Yes or no?
Like it's Craig, you missed the point of bringing that up. That there were babies and the babies couldn't do anything.
What does the Bible say about
Craig, you're missing. I'm trying to explain the point because you missed it. Okay. The point is the babies couldn't do anything. The babies couldn't save their lives. And yet God killed them anyway. They were innocent babies that had done nothing wrong. And yet God felt that it was all right to kill those babies, even though they had done nothing wrong and could not escape the flood. Do you now understand why that was a cruel act?
Anyways, I guess you
That's
can.
no,
it's not in any ways. Do you understand? Why that is a cruel act?
What about leading your children?
Craig, it's an easy question. Okay. God drowned a bunch of innocent babies who could not escape the flood. Do you or do you not think that was a cruel act?
Hey, Kelley, I'm going to leave it at this, and I'm going to hang up. One day you're going to get a caller who's going to baffle you, okay? And he's going to
well, it certainly hasn't been you, Craig. Goodbye.
Thank you, Craig. Sometimes I think we just talk too fast. They don't.
That's why I went slow and explained it slowly. I didn't see the world.
Yeah, that was. Yes. Anyway, I remember I was
I
going
have
off
some
on
announcents.
Oh, announcement. That's right.
Yeah, I got to do a few announcements. So, let me do my job for a minute. As many of you know, we have initiated phase 2. That's right, phase 2 of the Brick Fundraiser. And we want to highlight some of the really cool orders that we've already received. And this week's featured brick goes to Sam from Oregon. I bought a gap especially for your God. You're welcome. Well,
That's
thanks
awesome.
for your purchase, Sam. And you can get your brick at tiny.cc/ACA bricks. Don't be thick, buy a brick. You can have fun yelling at people not to step on them. I did that secular rarity during the back cruise, and it was really funny. He jumped like it was important, didn't realize what I was yelling at him for at first. He jumped like if I was yelling, hey, there's a rattlesnake. I had fun. And for the month of December, this is freaking awesome. We are re-releasing our past limited edition t-shirts. I like the one that said, Bigfoot saw me. Is that right? Yeah. Bigfoot saw me and none of his friends believed him, something like that. Get your ACA merchandise at tiny.cc/merch ACA. And another great way to support us is by sending us super chats. If we get a certain number of super chats, we will, I don't know, we didn't come up with anything. You know what?
Well, you were talking about stripping.
I was talking about stripping during the end credits.
Yes. So if we get enough money, Kelley was talking about stripping. If we get enough money, he won't.
Yes. Yeah. There you go.
So if we get $50, he'll keep his clothes on.
Yeah. Otherwise
you're all under threat.
During the And last but not least, I was actually going to talk this over with the crew and I forgot. And let's see that crew because they're way better than I am. Obviously, I was the one that forgot shit. So where's that crew? Put them up there. Crew cam. There they are. The awesome, amazing, incredible crew. Yeah. Yeah, they are so awesome. I seriously, all I ever do is just show up and talk, and they do everything else. And they're incredible.
Looks like your stripping got vetoed, I think.
Oh, damn it. Damn. I wanted to show you how awesome I looked at 65, man.
There you go. Spring steel and rawhide.
All right. Let me see. I'm looking down at our call queue, and we got Michael, they in Virginia. I think I know who Michael is. And he says, we cannot change our fate. It leads to conclusion that there is no free will. So let's bring Michael up here. Hi, Michael. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. So let me just jump right into it since you guys know my name and everything. So I have a couple of arguments, but the easiest one, the quickest one, is just that all events, premise one, all events are determined by prior events. And then premise two, we can't change prior events. They've already happened. And so, of course, the conclusion is that we cannot change what we do now either. They're dependent on those prior events.
I don't know that I can agree with that. I will agree with they are influenced by prior events, but I'm not so sure that they're dependent on prior events. And it's like somebody can act completely out of random, right?
Right. And actually, that brings me to my next argument. Do you have more to say? I cut you off.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So my other argument involves the randomness element. So all events must be determined to have a specific effect, or they include some element of random chance, which is the same thing as saying it's indeterminate. It could be one thing or the other. Now, in one case, if something is determined, it's going to have only one option that it results. So of course you can't change it. It's determined to be one thing. That's easy. Now, when it comes to randomness, that also can change fate, but it doesn't mean that we can change fate, because by definition, something that's random is not controlled by us. It's not our choice. So whether it's determined or random or a mix of both, we don't have a say in our fate. It's up to random chance.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm not so sure I agree with that.
I would have a point. My thought would, I understand the whole, if you know where everything came from in the universe, you know where it's all going. You can predict where it's going if you know where it came from. I get that. I get that when we're talking about science and physics and particles and mass and gravity. But once you interject intelligent thought into it, that's not something that relies necessarily on the laws of physics. Intelligent decision-making thought is something that no longer is it's like a Plinko kind of thing. You know what a Plinko is, where you drop a bunch of beads down and goes. You're kind of the randomness that you interject with thought kind of tosses out the before and after picture that you would get by just knowing where everything was and where it was going, because it's a disturbance that's not actually part of that. Does that make sense?
Oh, I agree. I just don't.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I just don't understand how something random can be said to be our choice. That doesn't make any sense.
Oh, I see. I guess. Well,
Yeah, I'll
you're
agree
I
with
think you're
that.
splitting it here. Yeah.
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 And
Yeah.
I
Choice
and
is an
I
illusion, I guess.
and you got to remember that people don't follow those kind of rules of physics in their actions. And
That's
that's what
right.
I meant. And that's what I meant about the random things happening. I mean, people have just come out of freaking left field and thrown stuff at me that I would have never guessed was going to happen. Would have never guessed was going to happen. Or it was like an option that wasn't even thought of and still happened. So that's the kind of things that what I'm thinking of when I talk about randomness is things that you don't even think of as being a possibility.
Yeah.
I think we all agree here. I think we're just talking maybe about different things. I'm talking about, can you willfully choose to get chocolate ice cream over vanilla and not due to random chance, because random chance would mean that your choice is random and it's not up to you. I'm curious, though, what do you guys think about, you said that mental events are not just caused by physical ones, and I'm guessing you guys think it's not just caused by random chance, because that doesn't give you agency. What's a third thing that you guys are thinking actually causes people to make choices? What's the third thing?
I don't think that we ever said there was a third thing. I'm kind of wondering how you came to that conclusion that that's what we said.
Yeah, well, I think there's kind of different things going on here, but I was talking about that we were talking about the continuity of the universe. There's this notion that if you know where all the particles are going, a moon is going to hit a thing, where all the particles are going to go, where everything came from. But that all ends when you interject intelligence or choice. That's exactly the question you are asking right now.
Right.
How do I choose one of these things? And go ahead.
You just said it brilliantly, Chris. I don't want to forget.
Right.
So you just said that if there's physical, there's random chance, and then there's intellect. So intellect is this third thing that I think that you're saying is causal, and it's different from physical and random.
Right. That is what I'm saying. Yeah, because we can calculate everything, every particle, everything in the universe all the way up to now, but you can't determine whether I'm going to take this, you can even tell what color, whatever the paint got into the bucket. I don't know. But once I take and make the decision, I'm making that decision. Now, the whole Sam Harris and free will, you're splitting hairs on free will. Does the MRI show that the decision was already made before I made it kind of thing, free will? That's kind of a hair that I don't know that I can split.
Yeah, and
go ahead.
I was going to say that when you talk, you brought intellect into it. My intellect is me. It's not a separate third thing. It's me.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like where the randomness of the we're using the term randomness of the universe, but it's not really random, right? We've already established it's not random of the universe. Your randomness becomes.
If you agree, I don't understand why you brought up a third entity of intellect. You have got me totally confused. I don't understand what you're saying at all now.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. We'll throw that out because clearly who you are can be explained by psychology, which can be explained by biology, which can be explained by chemistry, then physics. So you're maybe part of the physical stuff.
Maybe I don't know that I don't like when you started out with that first step of psychology. I don't know that you can explain everybody through psychology, and that's when I'm talking about this randomness thing. Is that's the one thing you cannot count on people to not do crazy shit.
Well, what makes you say that? It could only be because there's some
because I'm 60. Because I'm 65, but I've been watching people do crazy shit my whole life.
Right, but it's explainable in my view and also in a deterministic view. All the science seems to show that there's reasons for the things people do. Even if it seems crazy to you, that's a limit on your knowledge, not a limit.
Yeah, sure. Like they might have faulty wiring in their head that caused it. That doesn't mean that it was something totally random that threw everything else around it off.
So
go ahead, Chris. Go, please.
I was going to ask, is this kind of like are you trying to determine about your predetermined thoughts? What are you trying to get to, Michael? I feel you. I think I feel you. I'm just trying to feel what you're getting at.
My point is not that the universe is determined. I think it is, but that's irrelevant to what I'm actually trying to make a point of. My point is that you, as an individual agent, even though you feel like you have control over your future, you actually don't. It's up to a combination of random chance and physical.
I understand. Okay. I understand. I think that's beautiful. I disagree, but I understand. I see where it's going, and I could actually understand where when you add up all the biological ticks and every experience I've ever made and every light that's ever hit me and everything that triggered every little thing in my brain, you could probably calculate whether I was going to choose blue or green to paint that wall with. That's kind of where you're going, right? It's sort of like the biological, because that's what you said a minute ago when you were referring to Kelley. You were talking about the biological, psychological, chemical reactions going on into your brain. So it kind of follows through the whole thing we were talking about, the universe being predetermined. If you know where everything is, you know where it's going. Well, that also, in your argument, applies to people. And if you know down to the absolute biological tiniest bit about where they've been or where their body's been, you'll know where they're going and what choices they're going to make. So people don't really have choice. They're just going through and living their life unaware that they don't have choice. Choice is an illusion. Did I misunderstand?
In a way, yeah. I would describe choice as a mental calculation that an agent does in order to take hypotheticals and then choose one that's going to be reality. We technically have choices. We just can't choose our choices. It's very meta and hard to understand it.
I was having I had a long free will conversation today on the internet, and the problem that we had with that conversation and the problem that I'm having that to me is tanking this conversation is that we started out talking about free will and somehow that turned into free choice, and they're not the same thing.
Thank you. I agree. To me, free will is the ability to do otherwise in the same circumstances. And what I just described was free choice, which is just the ability to choose between different options to do what you want. So I agree with you, Kelley. Thanks for pointing that out. That was my bad.
Between the different options that are available to you to do what you want.
That's an interesting line of study. We actually had on my show the other day, we had people get into an argument over one person was telling another person, listen, you think you have free will and free choice, but you don't. And it blew up my whole chat. Yeah. Interesting topic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we can all agree we have free choice at least.
I think we all have the illusion. We may have the illusion that we have free choice. I don't know. It's funny. One of those things that, when you watch and you see these psychological, the debates, just like we were talking, can you really tell what somebody's where they're going to go or what choices they're going to make, or how random are your choices? Do you have random choices?
Yeah, I hope we can.
Yeah, we do.
It's interesting because that gives us the most power in the universe. Yeah.
There you go. I have the power of grayskull. That's what I was saying. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, that's a great call. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, guys. It was nice.
Yeah.
How are we going to cure cancer?
Interesting. Are you going to cure cancer? Yeah. If you can, Michael, please do. I don't know who you are, what you do for a living, but if you can, please do that. All right.
A lap dance demon. That's a good one. I saw that.
Yeah. I saw that
Thank you
too.
for that.
Interesting call. That was interesting call. And that was the problem that we kept having this morning too with the conversation, is that it kept going from free will to free choice, and there was also something else that was involved in it. You know what? I think it was randomness actually.
Yeah.
Is that that these, and it kind of got this nebulous fuzzy thing kind of mixing all three together, and I was like, we're totally losing the conversation here because we can't keep substituting these words for each other. One of my favorite authors, Tom Robbins, once said there is no such thing as a true synonym, and I read that when I was in my early 20s, and it stuck with me through my whole life, and it's pretty much true. There really is no such thing as a pure synonym. So
I'll have to think about that.
Which is why we have different words. So
there we go.
All right, I'm going to bring up Gabe, him in Texas. He says he has very well-educated parents that have fallen victim to conspiracy theories and wants to explore how to converse with them. Hi, Gabe. How you doing?
Good, Kelley. Hi, Chris.
Hello, Gabe.
Thank you for taking a picture with me at the back, Chris. I finally got to talk to you live. And Chris, your channel sounds awesome. I will be checking it out. I didn't know you even existed. Sorry.
I get that a lot. Thank you.
Listen, both of my parents are medical doctors. They're highly educated. And I've called the show before to see how we can basically talk to each other about religion. And it's blown up in my face. It hasn't worked out. And now they're falling into conspiracy theories as medical doctors, falling into like the anti-vax routes. They're reading like all these anti-vax literature. Yes. And, you know, the past, I let it go because, I just wanted to at least get along with them. But now it's getting to the point that it's intervening with our lives, because these decisions actually, they matter. They matter what, beliefs and form actions actually have consequences. So if they're painting what their decisions with what they believe, then we have problems. And I live with them. I take care of them too. Mm-hmm. I wanted to explore how we can have a conversation and how I can force that conversation to happen. They're old.
That's interesting.
So,
yeah. Age is an inhibitor, I think, sometimes because I don't know. I'm old. I'm like, I know what I know, and I don't want to go look it up. So I could see it being hard to convince them. But both of them being medical doctors, I would think exposing them to actual research might actually help. I used to believe in all these conspiracy theories, not really conspiracy theories, like, ancient aliens and all that stuff. And I watched all these videos about ancient aliens, and I thought I knew everything. And then one day I watched 1 3-hour-long video on YouTube about ancient aliens. And it, like the one where the guy's on the side of the crypt, and he's like in a starship. And they explain that it's not actually a crypt. It's a crypt. It's a ship. It's the tree of life, and how it's all real old stuff, not science, so it kind of opened up my mind to that sort of thing. And that may be the way to go with them, is to find, what conspiracy theories specifically are they into? You said anti-vax stuff. Well, they're doctors. If you could find a good counter to that on YouTube, because YouTube is the way, man. Don't give them a bunch of papers to read, scientific papers. They ain't going to do it. We're not going to do it. Give them a good YouTube video to kind of help them understand and expose them to the truth. And that may help. Outside of like electroshock therapy, I don't know what else you might try.
Okay. Well, my mom, when I called the show before, I spoke with Secular Verity and what's his name? I don't know why I forgot his name, but they recommended the book from Carl Sagan, The Demon Haunted World: Science is a Candle.
Oh yeah.
My mom read it. Because it's Carl Sagan, they like Carl Sagan, they read it. But when I had a conversation about how that book, also talks about her beliefs, all of a sudden, no, I hate Carl Sagan, she threw the book in my face, like I never want to see it again. Once that book, she realized that book is for her beliefs as well, she didn't want to explore it no more. And we got into it because of that.
Right. It's so hard for somebody as they get older to all of a sudden realize that for 40 years I have believed something that isn't true. And it's just like, once you find, and then something so earth-shattering as your religious belief too. So you'll often get a lot of cognitive dissonance. We saw that earlier this evening on our first call, where somebody just couldn't reconcile the fact that what they believed in was really a bad thing, right? And so I'm just going to ignore that whole side of it and continue only to believe the good thing. It's like when you hear people say, well, God is love. God is just a message of love. Well, there seems to me a lot more to it than that. And a lot of it isn't very loving at all, but they've gone ahead and they've ignored all the rest of it because of that cognitive dissonance. And there's no way that you can show it to them because it literally does not exist for them. They've totally blocked it out of their mind. It's a weird thing. I've seen it happen in my own family with a different topic, where one of my, not one, but a couple of my siblings have just blocked out chunks of our childhood as if they didn't happen because they had negative experiences. It's not stuff they wanted to believe or think about. You know what I mean? So it can be really hard with people who are just so ingrained in their beliefs, and it may be, and I hate to say this, it may be that you are never ever going to get through to them, especially because you're their child, because their child could never ever possibly be smarter than they are.
And sometimes you can show people the light, you just can't lead them to it, and that's one of the things I talk about on my show. I enjoy engaging with light Christians because they're interested, they want to know, they're curious. But then there's other people who they don't want to know. They're not curious. They just want to engage, follow their own path. And if they're ever going to come to the light, they're just going to have to do it on their own. You've done your part. You've shown them what you can. I mean, and live your life. At some point you have to live. Of course, you're in a situation where you live with them and those guys, so you're able to influence them. And I would say do the best you can, but focus on you. You do you, brother. I think you probably be better off that way. And how much can you convince them, especially considering they're your parents, But I appreciate you for trying.
Yeah, totally.
I was thinking of maybe going with a psychiatrist. And maybe we can talk it out.
I'm always down for that. Yeah, if you can get them to go, that's great. Yeah. I'm down for that. Why didn't we think of that?
A family therapist, right? A family therapist, maybe.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Don't jump right to a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but maybe take some baby steps and go see a family therapist. Yeah. That might be an option if you could talk them into it. Especially if you pay for it.
well, because they're medical doctors, usually the psychiatrist doesn't want to charge, But the cancer thinking into a particular one. But the problem I see with just going with the psychiatrist is, since I also debate myself, I've actually debated pediatricians that are like younger creationists, anti-vaxxers themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't get it.
So
I don't either.
I would have to interview the psychiatrist beforehand.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. I know a medical professional who is way up there in the educated department, and she likes to explore things like cupping and what are those things where they put the needles in your body random, like all over your body, Chinese medicine, acupuncture. I'm all into that stuff. I mean,
or dry needling to make it acceptable.
There you go. However you do, and I'm like, all right, let's explore them. If it works for you in your mind, let's do it. If it helps you figure out whatever. But I find it odd that people who are trained in biochemistry and all that sort of thing will sit there and go, oh yes, I can see how sticking a needle in my shoulder up here will make my foot feel better. Just kind of. Anyway, I don't know if about that, but in their case where they're going on to anti-vax stuff, that's a little scary, especially at their age, right?
Yeah.
They've already had their medical boosters and all that business.
Yes, my mom right now is talking about my dad not getting like the COVID vaccine again. And she's been reading like this guy, Peter Geuch, I forgot. He's like a Danish doctor. He's part like some the CDC, and now he became like very anti-vax.
Let me ask you about your parents. Are they theists? Are they Christians?
Yes, they're Catholics.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, right. I remember. Yeah, he said he was raised Catholic.
Okay. Thank you for that. I want to let you, if you don't mind, you might remind them of this, because sometimes what they like to think about whenever they're Christians, they like to think that Jesus will protect them. Okay, Jesus is going to protect me. They're going to pray, and Jesus is going to protect them from the disease. You've seen that we saw a lot of that during the cooties. It might be worth it to you to gently remind them that Jesus will let you die. Look throughout history. Jesus has let Christians die for any number of things, through plagues, through this, through that. He wants to see them. I mean, they need to get vaccinated. They need to do the thing, whatever you got to do to make them, I say make them, to help convince them to do the safest way, but this notion that they should not do it, that they should be exposed and live dangerously, Jesus will let you die. He'll go on about it. He has no problem letting people die.
Yeah, unfortunately, even if they're little children. as we pointed out earlier.
Yes. That is true.
So somebody wrote in the text chat that Chris is nailing this, and I was like, yeah, he totally is. I didn't write that out, but yeah, I'm totally agreeing with you. He's totally nailing this.
Thank you. I saw this on TV once.
Cool.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you all, guys. You're great.
Gabe, this was a great call. I am running a little short on time, and I still have a few more calls to take. So, do you have any final words you want to throw at us? Pardon?
No, that's it. I'll bother you on Messenger. I'll bother you.
All right, cool. Thanks. Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. I appreciate it, Gabe. You have a great night.
There we go. If we're still there, I will let you. I think you saw the message there.
Yes, I got to do the patron of the week, which I didn't do, and there was a reason for it because of who the patron is. So we get it up there. There it is. The patron of the week this week is my good buddy, Jonathan Rodabush. So I was going to do the whole show and never mention his name at all. John is a good friend of mine. He's one of the hosts of Nonprofits. We get to work with each other all the time. So, and I kid, I love John. And with that, boy, we've got quite a few calls left. This is awesome.
Oh, really? We'll try to speed through these.
You brought it with you this time, Lance. All right, and our next call is Daen Darklight, no pronouns given, from Arkansas. Unique theism, I know, right? Unique theism that is non-Abrahamic and believes in the one true creator. Hangs out in guest channel chat. So let's see. Oh, I thought I brought him up here and it didn't click through. There we go. Hi, Daen Darklight. How you doing?
That's Daen Darklight. Yeah. And I am the brightest night, and I am the darkest light.
Cool.
What up, y'all? I am a theist, but non-Abrahamic. I believe that followers of Abraham are basically a blood cult of sin worshippers. And you can prove using the Bible that Yahweh is absolutely not the one true creator. If you just follow as without even believing in the one true creator, if you just take the one true creator as a thought experiment, there's no possible way that Yahweh could meet the standards of what the one true creator would need to be.
Okay.
The one true creator would not break their own commandments.
We're in agreement. You don't have to prove it to us. What I'm more interested in is what God do you believe in, and why do you believe in that God?
I don't believe in any specific one name. Like I have a totally different construct of. I don't even like the word God. I got a lot of things in common with atheists and pagans. That's why I hang out with them. Like I don't even like the word God, but that's just like what people use as like a generalized colloquialism.
Okay.
But what I think is it's all consciousness, as I like to call it, is an extension of the omni-consciousness. And I believe that every single consciousness is God living through us. So basically, we are all a quanta of the one true creator. We are all an extension of the Godhood, as I like to call it. But
that's cozy.
I really don't like the word God. And it's my imagination. I can do what I want with it. I totally acknowledge that it's just imaginary friends, but it's mine, and I'll do what I want with it. Cool. I'm not trolling, though. I'm serious about it.
No. It's cool. What makes you believe? What is it that brought you to that conclusion? Why? What did you find convincing that made you believe that?
I come from a family of an assortment of different Christians. My mom was raised Jehovah's Witness, but she left when she was 18, and she raised me and my siblings as kind of like New Age Wiccan pagan, like not like old school pagan, just kind of like more New Age kind of. We could study anything, She encouraged us to study whatever. If we wanted to go to church, she's like, "Sure, go to church." We only did that shit a couple times. I was like, "This church sucks. It's boring as hell," But
I had a similar experience.
I thank God I never went to church enough to get molested. Saying, I did have family that went to church enough to get molested, so I thank God I wasn't one of those.
The numbers are high. You got to watch out for that, Daen.
So anyway, yeah. So continuing on, So I was raised as pagan, but I came to my belief in the construct of the one true creator through my study of science. Like just early on studying the atom, the atom is mostly empty. And like you got all these people running around, oh, I feel so empty. It's like, yeah, that's like the basis of everything of what you are. Like people are so dark phobic, that they have.
But they're not.
Problem I
they're
see
using
with
this.
the Abrahamic theology.
Yeah, they're using the same word there, but they're not talking about the same concept. So I don't know, when you say empty with the atom and empty with their feelings, those are two different kinds of empty. They have nothing to do with each other. So I'm a little confused about the connection there. Or maybe you can explain that a little bit better to me, why you think those two things are connected.
Because we're made of atoms, and atoms are mostly empty, and people are like,
yes, I get that. I get that part. Daen, listen to me. I get that part. Okay, I get that part. But why do you think empty atoms creates empty feelings? That's the part. That's the connection I'm not getting.
Because that's like a basic characteristic of what our very building blocks are, is emptiness and darkness.
Yes, but our emotions are not building blocks, right? See, it's like you're taking something that's like physical and you're turning it into something that's a thought or an emotion, right? And that's the problem I'm having here, that you're equating an empty physical thing, like an empty cup, to being sad. And I don't see where an empty cup is equatable to sad, maybe because you want a drink and you don't have one, but you get the point I'm making, right? That the empty cup does not donate an emotion just because it's empty. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's why I'm a little bit confused, because go ahead.
I'm speaking from my own experience as far as I'm not telling you what you or anyone else has felt. I'm
not asking you to tell me. I'm asking you to explain the concept that you're telling me. I don't think you're trying to convince me or anything, but you've told me a thing and I don't understand it. So I'm trying to get you to make it understandable for me. That's all.
I'm trying to explain my theology. I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything. That's the beautiful thing about atheists. That's why I spend most of my time arguing with other theists. Like I just hang out with atheists, but I was just letting y'all know, like a different view of what, theology could even be,
Okay.
I just wanted to call and theists out there know that they don't own the construct of the one true creator. Because the theists like to act like they own the construct of the one true creator,
Chris,
I'm not trying to convert no one or anything.
Oh, I got you. Okay, that's cool, Daen. It's interesting. What I wanted to say was, it sounds, because I dig what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I am receiving what you're broadcasting. It sounds poetic. It sounds metaphysical. It sounds like some cool, kind of. It's not like hard anti-theistic arguing. In other words, it sounds poetic. It doesn't sound like something your belief system doesn't sound like you're trying to argue with anybody or push it on anybody. It actually sounds kind of cool. That's what I was kind of going to say, without being oppressive, because most theists, you're a different kind of theist.
Yeah. Well, I just like to discuss theology. Like, I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything.
Right, I get that.
Y'all did kind of cut me off halfway through explaining. There's a lot more, to my theology, but I understand y'all got more callers and whatnot. But, if anyone wants to delve more into it, I'm very happy to do that. I've made a couple reaction videos to Chris there. Chris is awesome. And
I need to get back to that second one, like I told you.
Right away, I'm totally. I try to do. My thing is, I go for truth of expression. Like, that's my main thing. I think a lot of creators on YouTube get burnt out because they're trying to be some kind of way. And, if you just do exactly what you love all the time and you just kind of record it as you go, you'll never get tired of that. And that's kind of what I do. But
hey, Kelley, it's your turn. You're muted.
A bunch of tyrants.
Daen, I'm sorry. You've been carrying on. You haven't been even using commas, man. I get what you're saying, and that's not what I'm asking about. And that's part of it's like you throw a concept out there, you say a thing, and then it doesn't seem understandable to me. So I ask you to understand what it is, and then you come back with, well, I'm not trying to get you to believe it. Well, I don't even know what it is to believe it first. I'm trying to find out what it is that you're talking about. I don't think you're trying to get me to believe anything, and I appreciate that you're not. But I really honestly want to understand some of the concepts that you're trying to communicate, and I am seriously not able to understand them. And that's what I'm asking. Like to go back to your original question, how is the fact that atoms are empty, what does that have to do with a person's emotional state? Because I don't see any connection whatsoever.
Well, I think that was you're kind of getting caught up on that one part a little bit too much. Like I was just.
No, Daen, it's not just that one part. You've said several things, right? You've gone on from that point. And the other things I didn't understand either. I just went back to the first one that I didn't understand, right? I mean, I'm caught up on a whole bunch of things that you didn't say because I didn't feel that they were understandable. Well, and then when I ask you to understand it, you want to, well, you're just getting caught up on that. Yeah, but you still haven't explained it though. It's like you're trying not to explain it.
No, I would have explained it by now in so many words if you weren't trying to get me to chase my tail, you know. But now, if you would allow me,
I'm not doing anything to you, Daen. I'm just asking for an exclamation. I don't even know how I could get you to chase your tail. I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even know what you meant by that. But when people call in and they have these fantastical claims, right? That's we say the show is about what you believe and why you believe it. So you believe that empty atoms have something to do with empty emotions, and I'm asking you to explain why.
Because people are because people have minds and people are made of atoms. Atoms are empty. So it is, well, the thing is, people have a lot of negative associations with the word emptiness and darkness. And that is one of the things that I'm trying to explain, that emptiness and darkness is not something to be afraid of. I think that, okay, well, check it out. I think that light does not move. It is the darkness that moves the light. I think that all light, okay, every light seed is a different universe of which we all are. Every single person is their own universe, okay? And every universe and every person exists at the same time and place simultaneously. This is the singularity of consciousness, which some people refer to as God. And the darkness is what connects everything, okay? Because the darkness is what allows everything to exist at the same time and place simultaneously. I'm going to be making all kinds of fantastical claims. That's fine. I'm just kind of threading it all together for you real quick, you know?
Gotcha. Well, as I mentioned earlier, you can continue. I was going to say that's what I was saying. It sounds really interesting. It's poetical, you know, a lot of what you say is poetical, like a haiku kind of poetical. But then whenever you finally got to the part at the end where you said it becomes God, then I was like, oh, okay, now I see where the religion aspect is. Because you talk on my show often about your beliefs, but we don't ever get the chance to engage on it, right? Because the chat goes by so fast. So yeah, I'll let you continue now. I just wanted to say that it does sound like like a tapestry of interesting, cool, I want to say metaphor, speaking poetically about the religion. I don't know how to say that. Anyway, carry on, Daen, with what you were saying.
Recently, some scientific stuff I've been studying is contradiction and paradox, which is littered throughout some scientific study. Gödel's inconsistency. Have you heard that? Gödel's it's a math thing that explains paradox and contradiction. It's like within any set of arithmetic, that basic set of arithmetic that you can use to prove something, there are proofs within that you can't prove. It's some kind of, it's basically that contradiction is baked into See, and this is a sticking point I have with a lot of atheists and theists alike, is because theists, the most normal theists, they're like, no, we don't believe in contradiction, but then they'll sit there and give you contradictory shit left and right. So they obviously do believe in contradiction, you know. And then atheists on the other side, they're like, no, we don't believe in contradiction because everything's got to be, you know, firm in this way, and it's either yes or no. Well, but at the same time, you also have the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. You know, where the more you know about,
gotta throw that in there too.
thing,
Yeah,
the less you can probably know about another thing. You know,
that's good stuff. I dig that. That was fun. Daen, listen, man. Like we said earlier, like you acknowledged, we do have a lot of callers. I appreciate you. I hope they'll have me back on the show. If they do, I'd like you to call back.
Well,
it was certainly an interesting call. I got to say that for it.
Yeah, just a thought though.
Thanks, Daen.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Daen.
I felt like you ever see one of those salad spinners? You know, you put the. I felt like he was doing that with words, but.
Yeah, you know, I find that one of the things that I enjoy about, I have a lot of different theists who come on my show, and I find his views refreshing because they're not the Abrahamic faith. You know, any of them that aren't that are refreshing. Not that I understand it.
Here's my thing. I didn't really come out of a Christian background. I had given up Christianity as an early teenager. So for 25 years, I was a New Ager. And the stuff that he's saying is the bullshit that I dealt with for 25 years. And when I hear it, it's just the same as something that you might hear coming out of Christianity, and you sit back and go, yeah, what a bunch of bullshit. So so when I hear that kind of stuff, and that's why I wanted to nail things down, like, you know, empty atom, empty feelings. What is that? That didn't mean anything, you know?
See, that's what I was taking. That really, to me, sounds metaphorical. That's whenever you're explaining feelings using or emotions using thing. I'm going to talk to you now through interpretive dance. You know, that's where I thought it got like a.
And that was fine. I mean, if he wanted to use it as a metaphor, that's fine. But please explain the metaphor, because it didn't work as a metaphor. You know, it wasn't working for me, right? It wasn't explaining anything to me. So I don't know. Maybe it's me. I've been known to be an idiot at times. So.
We have it on camera. Did I say that out loud? I don't even know you, Kelley. I'm sorry. I'm a bad person. I'm going to hell. Not for that, but I'm going to.
We have another caller. You want to take her?
Oh,
take
sure.
Take them.
Let's do this. Let's do this.
It's Dee, they, them from Iowa. I know Dee. Dee's awesome. People who use their power or authority over others who, see, I keep thinking I brought them up on stage and it didn't work again. I must not be clicking the button right. Hi, Dee. I'm gonna do your introduction again, Dee. Sorry. People who use their power or authority over others who are in a vulnerable state are abusing their positions and need to lose their authority. And I am 100% in agreement with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dig it.
Craig, the first caller, I really, man, it just triggered. Yeah, it triggered.
Right here, huh?
I've had that.
Right here.
Yeah. I was at one time when I was very young, I was in the hospital with pneumonia, and though I didn't know it at the time, I was dying, and I had a nurse that kept coming at me with, pray to Jesus, accept Jesus as your savior. And I wish, that I could have realized, that I did not, that I was a victim in that situation.
Right.
I've had other people do it. I've had landlord do it. I've had, it's been several times. So I am, and in Craig's situation where it's a prison guard, that shit needs to be shut down, like now. Government employees should not be allowed to do that. And, I don't want to generalize, but it seems to me in this case, and in a lot of cases, I've talked to people who had their conversions after an experience like that. They are very fundamentalist in their outlook. And, you know, these people think that they're saving people, but they're actually creating monsters. And it's just, it really got into my heart to, you know, feel really badly for Craig, but at the same time, you know, the guy is a monster. The things that he was saying,
he was also making excuses for being abused by a monster too. So you got to remember that not everybody is able to break that cycle. And that's one of the reasons that these things perpetuate, is that not everybody's capable of doing that. So, I mean, in one way, I want to be really pissed off at him, and in another way, I have a lot of compassion for him too. So,
yeah, that was my opening notes for him. Was like, man, you need to love yourself more.
Yeah.
When I heard him, I was like, you need to have more feelings for yourself.
Oh,
sorry, Dee.
And I just want to find a way. No worries, because when you said that about how, you know, how some people look for people who are vulnerable and prey on them, they don't even really know that that's what they're doing. I think as atheists and free thinkers, part of our, you know, the people who, you know, want to educate, I think that's a big thing for us to do, is to educate people that, number one, they don't have the right to, well, I don't know if I should go that far, but they ought to think about what they're doing when they're evangelizing, and other people to educate them that they can stand up for themselves. They don't have to put up with it just because we're talking about religion and society has put all of this taboo against questioning and being critical. You know, it's they don't have to put up with that abuse.
Often the best.
Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
Often the best thing I think we can do is bring knowledge to help them understand, especially like theist Christians, religion. I like to expose them. You know, they get the Bible, they get their Jesus, they get all this stuff filtered to them through these people who, they're good people, if they knew how horrific some of this stuff is, they wouldn't believe it. So I like to bring education and bring knowledge to these people and help them understand. And sometimes that helps. But oftentimes people just don't want that help, you know, and especially those who are they're soft, like I mentioned earlier, there are soft Christians who are Christians who want to engage and want to talk. But if you're talking about somebody who's evangelizing, you know, spreading the message, chances are they probably don't want to hear your message at all.
You know? And not only that, but they are absolutely 100% right. And there's nothing you can tell them that will make them change their mind.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to vent, and
well, thank you.
You know, let Craig know. And let Craig know that definitely, hon, do some thinking about, you know, whether or not it's fair to abuse a child, you know, for. You know, I've got a background in that too, and you didn't deserve it, Craig. You just plain did not deserve it. So
no, you didn't.
And mistreating children who are already acting out is not a way to correct their actions, right? I mean, it's like you're fanning the flames. You know, they need love, they need guidance, they need self-esteem. You know, Wait until they get in their 20s and then start abusing them. I'm kidding. Never do that. I'm a bad person. Smite me, Kelley. Smite me.
No, I have a hard time with this topic. I have personal history, and it's tough for me to talk about this. So
okay, good to know. Thank you.
I understand. I was diagnosed with attention deficit at 6 years old.
I was hung up and beaten till the skin peeled off my thighs when I was 5 years old. So, yeah. So, like I said, I have a personal history with this kind of thing, and it's hard for me to talk about. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Good to know. Thank you.
You know, this is, Anyway, sorry, honey. You're in my heart, Kelley, and Craig's in my heart, and thanks for taking my call. I hope I didn't put a big bummer on this call. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
You're wonderful, Dee. Hugs.
You're good, Dee. Yeah, don't worry about it, Dee. You're going to be hanging out with us in the after show?
Hugs.
All right, cool.
Yeah, you betcha. Right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Don't feel bad, Dee. It wasn't you that was doing that to me. So it's just hard for me to talk about it. That's all.
And thank you for your call.
Yeah, totally. Dee and I are buddies. We're good.
Back. Awesome.
In fact, Dee has a nonprofit she runs. I'm going to blow this, like the Atheist Free Thinkers of Northwestern Iowa or something like that.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
and I'm going to be appearing on her show on the 14th. So
she's all fancy. So thank you for letting me know who to suck up to.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And I got a few things I got to say here. First off, Chris, you were freaking awesome. I had so much fun hanging out with you today. I thought we had some good chemistry going together. Maybe not. Maybe that's just me again.
No, I had a great time. You're fantastic. You're fun.
Well, good. I'm
and
glad.
the tie, right? The tie is awesome.
Thank you. It's one of my favorites. If I have like a lot of ties, well over 100, and if I had to bring them down to 10 ties, this would have been my first pick. So
that's awesome. That's pretty.
But because you are so awesome, I want everybody to know, where can our audience find you and learn more about you?
I see. I'm the host of the Daily Atheist Morning Show. You can find me at the Damn Network. They're on the Damn Show, actually, at the Damn Show. Yes, at the Damn Show. Find me at the Damn Show. I stream live Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern, and I also drop long form content and shorts and stuff like that. My morning show is, what you'd expect, sort of like what we do here, except for without the calls. I engage with the chat, I engage with the people, I have fun, I sin, but I do it safely. So if you get the chance, we're almost to 3,000 subscribers.
Awesome.
So yeah, if you guys aren't subscribed, get over there and hit the subscribe button, do the thing at the place for the guy. I am the guy.
All right. And I want to apologize to Dee for getting her pronouns wrong. And I want to thank the stupendous Eli Slack for helping out tonight and doing the job that I normally do, being the backup host at Truth Wanted. So, hey, Eli, what's up, man?
Hey, guys.
Thank you.
Great
Eli.
show. That was awesome. Yeah, Chris, that was fantastic. That was really fun to watch.
I appreciate you. Cool.
Hey, how'd you get Ian McKellen to do the poster for your show?
Thank you. To hell with you, old man. Watch it. I'm coming after you. Ian McKellen. It took me a minute. I'm slow.
Yeah.
I've been compared to what's his name? Not Kiefer Sutherland, but his dad. Been told
the other
Sutherland. Yeah, I don't see it. But anyway, old white guy, I guess, if that fits. Are you guys out in the audience? Hey, are you people out in the audience going to be in the after show? They're going to have an after show.
Yes, we are going to have, all three of us are going to make it over to the Discord after show, and we're going to have as much fun over there as we've been having over here. Actually, we're going to have more fun because Eli is going to be up there talking with us as well. So,
yeah. Awesome. Hey, Daen, come talk about atoms.
Yeah. Actually,
Daen.
I saw Eli was going crazy because that's like Eli's cake that he eats for breakfast or for dessert on that one. So yeah, Daen, if you're around still listening, come to the after show. Talk to Eli. He'd love to talk to you about atoms.
Totally, Daen. Yeah, Daen. In my experience with Daen, he's got some very interesting. He's a cool guy. I dig Daen. He's got some very interesting topics. I think, Kelley, if you engage with him more, you'll find him to be quite interesting. Not that we agree with his thoughts, but they're interesting. I dig it.
Cool.
Yes,
Chris.
Yes.
Do you have any words of wisdom?
No.
No? All right, cool. Dan usually asks the guest, so I'm going to try to start remembering to do it myself too as well for him. So
Oh, just show up, sin safely. That's what I like to tell people. That some people like, it's not fun to sin safely. It is. It is. Go have all the sex you want with all the strangers you want. Well, not strangers, right? Be safe. Be safe. Sin safely. You can sin and be safe about it. It's okay. Wear condoms. Whatever, Sin safely, my friends. That's my words of wisdom.
Those are great words of wisdom. And I want to remind everyone that the prompt for next week is, what is an unexpected way to get on Santa's naughty list? Comment on the video, comment below, not in the chat on the side, but down below. And we may pick your answer for next week. So
yes.
And other than that, stick around, join us over to in Discord, and join us for the. Oh, you know what? We didn't do super chats. Dustin King, remember, 2 years, $5. Next time my boss asks why I don't seem to be getting anything done, I'm going to say that I work in mysterious ways. That's freaking awesome.
That is awesome.
That is amazing. Thank you so much, Dustin. And the amazing, stupendous Miranda Rensberger, a 6-month member for $10. When you get the result you wanted, that's God loving you in particular. When you don't, that's mysterious ways. Or maybe shit just happens due to natural causes.
Yeah.
That's why you're so awesome, Miranda. Thank you so much. And with that, the prompt next week is an unexpected way to get on Santa's naughty list. And we will see you over on Discord. And remember, everyone, keep wanting the truth. Goodbye. See you next week.
Watch the non-prophets and join the hosts in the live chat. Visit tiny.cc/ytnp.